a remark that might have been made by Jeremy Clarkson rather than a lord of the realm, a Conservative peer drew gasps in the House of Lords today when he described the northeast of England as a desolate landscape where the controversial oil extraction process, fracking, should be encouraged. Lord Howe, who was himself Secretary of State for Energy under Margaret Thatcher, later apologised, but Labour peers were quick to pounce, saying it showed the Conservatives were ignorant of the North. But whilst many sprang to the defence of the northeast, in Sussex, anti-fracking defences crumbled as police cleared protesters to allow drilling equipment to be delivered to a site near Balcombe. Our science editor Tom Clark has this report.
The Chancellor has said he wants Britain to be at the forefront of a shale gas revolution. So is this the pace at which the revolution is going to happen? When we arrived in Balcombe this afternoon, every truck entering the drilling site was moving in a slow march, swaddled in a high-vis cocoon of Sussex police. Despite the delay, fracking company Quadrilla Resources say they're back on track to drill this site by the end of the week. To keep this bit of the roadway clear, the police have dusted off powers handed to them back in the glory days of anti-road building protests in the early 1990s. And it seems to be working. Trucks are now getting onto the Quadrilla site. So does that mean this, the battle for Balcombe, has been for nothing?
This affects everybody in Sussex, everybody in the UK. If it starts here, it's going to be on everybody's doorsteps. I want the government to know that a lot of people in this village and much, much further than the village, many of whom are Tory voters, are feeling really, really unhappy about it. And they're not going to accept it.
And just as we were speaking to the concerned residents of Balcombe, George Osborne's father-in-law spoke up in the House of Lords with a helpful solution.
There are large and uninhabited and desolate areas, certainly up in the part of the northeast, where there's plenty of room for fracking. well away from anybody's residence.
It's hard to tell which caused more offence, his description of the northeast as desolate, or the unspoken implication that it might be best to avoid fracking the affluent Tory voting south. Either way, it provoked strong criticism from the Labour benches.
I was appalled by his comments and about the ignorance that he showed about our part of the country. I don't know what he was meaning in terms of desolate areas, but when I think of the northeast, I think of our industrial populous areas on Tyneside and Teesside, and then how we're surrounded by beautiful countryside.
Lord Howe has now apologised for implying the northeast is desolate, but he maintains fracking should take place in less populous areas than London's commuter belt. But wherever fracking goes, it's likely protest will follow.
We're getting information out there and we're delaying them, and it's costing them money, and we'll be there at the next well they try to test drill out.
And this is the problem fracking poses for the government. It's opposed by environmental activists and by a significant proportion of voters near each drilling site. With thousands of holes across Britain needed to usher in a shale gas boom, it might end up a very slow energy revolution. Tom Clark, Channel 4 News, West Sussex.